Is it time to reimagine your future? The right business skills may make a difference in your career. At Capella University, we offer a relevant education that's designed to focus on what you need to know in the business world. We'll teach professional skills to help you pursue your goals, like business management, strategic planning, and effective communication. And you can apply these skills right away. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, gonna be talking about the elections. Yeah, that happened. And you know, the thing is this. I'm not going to, I guess, attack people that did vote for Trump. If you voted for Trump, you have every single right in this world to vote for Trump, all right? I'm not going to take that away from you. There is a friend of mine's where they thought that I was going to stop being friends with them because they decided to vote for Trump. And there were some other friends of mine that I grew up with where they voted for Trump. And, you know, it's something where I really wish I can see things from their point of view, because from what I've seen, Trump ain't no better than any other, I guess, president that was looked at in a negative way. You know, and then that's the thing that does trip me out about those that voted for him. They were the main ones that were talking about Joe Biden is too old, he's asleep, he's this, he's that. The only reason why I guess like the only difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is that Donald Trump, he is an entertainer. Of course, he's going to be up all hours of the day and night trying to figure out how can he entertain his crowd. You're trying to compare Joe Biden and Donald Trump. They are two completely different people. They grew up on two different parts of the earth. So to me, it's like that's just, to me, that's not a fair comparison. That's like comparing my music career to Tupac's music career. It's a night and day thing. Regardless of whatever things that you like in this world, you know, again, it's like people shouldn't be attacked over it. So if you got Biden supporters out there, you got Biden supporters. If you got Trump supporters, you got Trump supporters. You got Kamala Harris supporters, you got Kamala Harris supporters. But what I'm trying to figure out is, you know, yes, there is a difference between Trump and Joe Biden, but as far as age, that's the part that really trips me out, was that a lot of people was attacking Joe Biden over his age, saying that he's too old to be president. He's literally a few years older than Trump. So that to me, I'm like, what's the age difference? You know, it's like, how is there any difference between, because yeah, there's somewhat of a difference between a 78-year-old and an 81-year-old. But as I look at it, there should be like a age limit where it's like, okay, if you in your 70s, 60s, yeah, maybe. I feel like that's when they need to start testing you and stuff, because that's usually around that time, that's when people start hitting them retirement ages. But why would anybody, I guess, because if you didn't trust Joe Biden at his age, what makes Trump any different? You know, it's like, oh, because he has different political views, he's still an old man. So I'm like, that's the part that just really trips me out. It's like, there's so much that really does trip me out about these elections. I'm like, from that to people misusing their vote. I'm like, they out here, and you know, the thing is this, there's people I feel like that voted for Trump because they see something that I guess others don't see when it comes to his political views. Me, I see more so the negatives than the positives, because I feel like that there's been so much negative that came from Trump from the first time he was in office all the way up until now. So, but anyways, I'm over here seeing people misusing their voting ability, out here voting for people that's not even running for president. You know, it's like, I'm out here seeing people voting for Stone Cold Steve Austin, the wrestler. And I'm thinking to myself, there needs to be some sort of way to make sure that people are voting for candidates that's on the ballots. Because to me, I'm like, that just doesn't even make any sense. You out here, there's people that could have been out, like, or I guess more so, there could have been votes that could have counted, but it's like, that's not gonna count. Like, if you ain't gonna vote, you ain't gonna vote. Because I know before Kamala Harris, she started running for president, I wasn't gonna vote. I was like, nah, but I'm not going to get my voting ballot and then put something stupid on there. To me, that just doesn't make any sense. It's like, if I'm not gonna vote, I'm not gonna vote, but I'm not gonna go and, oh, let me do something for the laughs, the giggles, the likes, and the media attention, voting for Stone Cold Steve Austin, or some other random stuff people done voted for. That stuff needs to change, man, because I'm like, to me, that don't make no sense. But yeah, you know, you got people out there that wants to do some old silly stuff like that. But yeah, it's just, you know, watching the elections, it was something where I was just under the mindset that Kamala Harris is going to win this. Like, she's 100% going to win this election. I'm like, there ain't no way, because I'm like, if people voted him, talking on Trump, if they voted him out of office already, why would he go, why is he going to get another chance? I'm like, I just did not see it. I just didn't see it that he was going to get another chance. And I'm like, you know, you got people out here trying to take this man's life. You got people out here that's like, you know, like, just famous people left and right talking about him. I'm like, there ain't no way he's gonna make it back in office. And then, yeah, last night, I'm like, man, you know, I was watching the elections, and yeah, it just eventually got to a point where I pretty much accepted defeat. You know, it's like, that's something that I can say and do, is that I accepted defeat. I was like, well, you know, he's gonna win this election, and we just gonna have to deal with them for the next 4 years. And that's how I look at it. It's like, okay, you know, 4 years, like, we went through it before. We could go through it again, but man, it was like, it was very disappointing. And I guess, like, because I know people are going to probably look at me as I am attacking Trump supporters. I'm not really trying to, but at the same time, it's like, what has he done for you guys to where he deserved your vote? You know, it's like, and I don't mean like, you know, like, oh, we're just gonna have to repeat what he said. Like, no, you as an individual, what has he done for you to earn your vote? Because I see it as like, I feel, here's what I personally think about Donald Trump. He don't care about anybody besides himself. I guarantee and I promise you, while he's in office, he's going to do more for him, his friends, maybe his family, or yeah, maybe even his friends. I don't know. But I feel like he's going to do more things to satisfy him than satisfying people. And I feel like that's when after these 4 years done passed, people are going to realize, well, dang, like, you know, maybe it might not be everybody, but I feel like there are going to be some Trump supporters out there. We already had Trump supporters back then where they was like, I regret voting for him back in 2016. I'm like, okay, I can only imagine what it's going to be like this time around. And I'm like, man, it's just, to me, it's like, you know, I can't be upset, but I am disappointed. You know, I've like that. I feel like this is the longest I've ever been disappointed in my whole life. Like, I've never been disappointed longer than like, what, maybe a few hours. But I'm like going on almost 24 hours now. I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm a little disappointed, because I'm like, to me, it just doesn't even make any sense, where it's like, half of y'all don't even really know what Trump, like, you don't pay attention to what he talks about. Like, there's friends of mine where I'm like, you know what, I ain't gonna argue with them. Like, there was one of my friends that we were talking about this yesterday, and they had posted on social media that they voted. And so let me see what I had said again, because I was like, it was something negative about Trump. But anyways, hold on for a second. Let me bring up the messages. But so they went ahead and posted so they posted their Instagram story, and then I posted, I'm not trying to deal with Trump for another 4 years. And then I ain't gonna read their message, just, you know, due to I was only gonna read mine. But no, it was like they I guess like not reading their message, but also talking on what they said, you know, you know, I don't know, I find that weird. But anyways, but yeah, overall they did tell me that they was going to vote for Trump. And that's just something where I'm all like, fam, you know, it's like and the thing is this, like, I'm not trying to really bring this up or make it like the main like part of this episode, but at the same time, they're a woman. And so I'm like, fam, I would really like to see what she sees in Trump. Because to me, I'm like, I just didn't think that there would be a lot, maybe racist women, but not just any old ordinary woman. I'm like, to me, because I'm like, this friend, she ain't racist. Like, she's far from it. And I'm like, nah, I'm like, she's someone of color. But at the same time, I'm like, I would like to understand why did she vote for Trump? Like, what was and there was another friend of mine where he's a person of color and he voted for Trump. I even have some family members there. I'm like, man, it's just, it really trips me out where it's like you see stuff like that. And I'm like, and I know people probably ask me, well, why did I vote for Kamala Harris? And I'm like, the thing is this. The difference between, I guess like voting for Kamala Harris and voting for Donald Trump, I'm not slowing down because that's something that I've mentioned numerous times where some Trump supporters have slowed down traffic. It's like, the thing is this, I voted for her in just like, in a peaceful way. It's like, I wasn't going to go all up and down the streets. Like, yeah, if I was going to talk about it anywhere, it's going to be on social media. It's going to be in the comfort of my own home. It's going to be in areas where I'm like, okay, I know I can talk about this here without causing any tensions and, arguments. But still, regardless, it's like, the thing is this, I just feel that when you look at all of the other different presidential, just like elections and stuff where, like, I'm more so, like, I guess talking, like, on during my lifetime and things, because it's like, that's when, like, the internet and all that stuff, like, you didn't really see no toxic behavior when it came down to voting for somebody and stuff. Like, I feel it because last Republican president we had was George Bush. And I remember there was like some, toxic things that were being said about George Bush. But I'm like, fam, if it came down between having George Bush back in office and Trump, yeah, I would rather have George Bush back in office. I just feel like that when it comes down to presidential stuff, like, we need to have people that actually studied this. Me personally, I feel like that Trump, he probably spent a certain amount of time, and whether it was short, whether it was long, I don't know. But I feel like he didn't spend as much time. Like, there's actual politicians that deserve that spot. And I'm like, and yeah, if we gonna mention Republicans, yeah, let's mention some Republicans. But I feel like that there are people that deserve that spot more than Trump. Trump doesn't come off as a politician to me. That's why I had to say I feel so disappointed in America, because I'm like, we just out here, we might as well have voted for Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was seeing things like, yeah, it was like a lot of people in the wrestling community. They was all like, oh, Roman Reigns, he should be in office. There's like people saying Dwayne The Rock Johnson should be in office. I'm like, at this point, I should be in office. I'm like, yeah, let me be president for the next 4 years. Man, let's see if I'm lucky enough to get a second term, because it just seems like now we just allow America to just go down in any old sort of way. It's like there ain't no real establishment. There ain't like no real, like, just, it just doesn't, yeah, like America, it just seems like a joke right now. And I'm like, the thing is this. Trump, I'm going to say this much about him. He won this election fair and square. I ain't going to raid no Capitol. I'm not going to go all up and down the streets, protest, do all this other old silly stuff. He won this election fair and square. I ain't gonna take that away from him. Congratulations. It takes a lot for me to say some stuff like that, but at the same time, yes, congratulations to our president, Donald Trump. But it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to view him as a president. Although I'm going to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, he did win the elections and he is president of the United States. At the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to acknowledge him as a president, because I feel like he doesn't even acknowledge half of the people in America. So why should, if he doesn't acknowledge me as a person of this country, why should I acknowledge him as president? Because I really do feel like that it would have to take some life-altering moment in Trump's life to realize that the stuff that he says and does, it's wrong. It's just flat out wrong. And I know people are talking about like, oh, he's going to do good for the economy. He's going to, prices of groceries, gas, and all this other stuff. It was at like an all-time low when he was in office. It was at an all-time low before he was in office. I just feel like that's like people are like, just how this world operates. It seemed like as the time went on and on and on, it's like things the prices of stuff was always going to raise, and I'm like, and I don't know, maybe we just got too many consumers, maybe it's just whatever the situation, there ain't enough of the products that we're buying where it's like there's, it's just things are just too expensive, and it's like we need more products, but it's like, yeah, it's like I think we need to focus on elevating and building this country before we start electing entertainers in office. And I'm like, I mean, if he's gonna do that, then it's like, okay, then do that. But excuse me, whatever issues or problems you got going on, like him being a felon, all his like court stuff, you need to save that for a different day. But for these next 4 years, you need to be focused on the people of America, not just your friends, your buddies, and those that voted for you. No, everybody. And that's what I more so want out of this whole situation, is I want Trump to prove me wrong. Like, cause I'm telling you, like, I really, to my gut, look, even the first time around when Trump had made it into office, it's like it was something where I'm like, dang, it's like, why, all right, I guess, he's in office, but nah, it's like this time around, I just feel like that it's not good. There's just not a good feeling in me, and I'm like, I don't want people to assume that oh, I'm right on what I'm saying. If you want to look at me as what I'm saying is wrong, then you could go ahead and say that. But here's what I'm gonna say before I end off this podcast episode. I've dealt with people like Trump outside of like politics and all that. Like I've dealt with people like him. For those that don't know, like if this is your first time hearing my podcast, I am a full-time content creator, and I have gotten into it with other content creators. And there's this one content creator in particular where he reminds me of Trump a lot, where he will use his audience. He don't care about nobody besides himself. He got a lot of incriminating things surrounding him currently right now, back before in the past, and most likely in the future. And it's one of those things where it's like, I personally did not feel like dealing with this content creator. I just didn't feel that he was mentally fit to be a content creator. It's like you were causing more problems than fixing. And I feel like that was the same exact thing with Trump. I'm like, people want to think of all the positives, but I'm like, you're thinking really, really hard about these positives, but you really trying your best to ignore the negatives. And I'm like, with me, I'm like, fam, if your negatives stand out more than your positives, hey, you know what? By the end of his, his time in office, I'm like, if people aren't satisfied with his just overall, his time in office, don't be all like, oh, nobody didn't try to tell us, nobody. I'm like, fam, why do you think we were voting for Kamala Harris? I'm like, my thing is this. I'm like, I might not know too much about her, but I feel like just in the time frame where I have, I guess like studied just, her and things, and just like, like her not like her surroundings, because it's like that's gonna sound like I'm a stalker or something, but it's like just from the short period of time where she was running for president, I feel like she talked a bigger and better game than Trump. That's just my personal opinion, but at the end of the day, I'm like, it don't matter. Trump won, so we just gonna have to deal with him for the next 4 years. But yeah, man, I'm like, hopefully like I said, hopefully he proves me wrong, because if not, I told y'all so. But anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode, and peace.